All right, so today we're going to talk about the annual food service training, and this is the annual food service training for Dayspring Village, and the food safety is obviously priority one. So today's topics are going to cover basic public health, food protection practices, your personal hygiene, prevention, temperature and time control, proper insect and pest control, and your responsibilities as it relates to food service. Under Florida's assisted living rules and regulations, you're required to take a 1-hour food service training. There's been a new change to the administrative rules by the Department of Health. They have changed, a major change to their set of rules as it relates to the handling of food in a commercial kitchen. And so this will kind of be part of that. So, Florida Public Health Food Protection Practices, the 64E11 is the administrative rule that covers the handling of food in any kind of commercial food operation. Section 381 Florida statute is the governing statute. Of course, the food code in annex is the 2013. So there's a download there you see in the bright pink there, and that is your food code. So if you don't know, this is where you find the answers. You go with the food code. The food code is adopted by incorporation into the rule. And that's very important because when they adopt something into a rule, the entire code becomes enforceable. So it's really important. So when you read through a rule, if they adopt and incorporate that code, the entire manual becomes a regulation. Okay? So it looks, that can be very confusing. So this was a big debate in the ALF world because you had a 470-page MedTech guide. That's when you went to MedTech class, right? It was a very lengthy MedTech guide. And some people wanted to adopt the entire MedTech guide as a rule, which meant the entire MedTech guide could be enforced as a regulation. So it's almost impossible to comply with that much regulation. But in the Department of Health, they were successful in adopting that entire food code as a regulation. So that now becomes a regulation that we have to comply with. Okay, so food poisoning is caused by improper holding temperatures, inadequate cooking, contaminated or dirty equipment, food from unsafe sources, or poor personal hygiene. 5 sources. Hand washing. Food employees shall clean hands and exposed portion of their arm for at least 20 seconds. I always call it kind of, look, when you are preparing to handle food or when you're preparing to deal with healthcare, you know, take the surgeon's approach. You know, everybody's watched Grey's Anatomy, everybody's watched all the healthcare medical shows, and you see the surgeons in there talking about whatever gossip's going on, and they're all in there getting all lathered up with the soap, right? That's the 20-second hand wash. While they're, you know, lathering up, and you see all the suds, and they're getting all their hands and arms all washed up. You know, so that kind of hand washing is a pretty extensive hand washing activity. Now, you don't have to go that far, but the reality is that 20-second hand wash, this isn't about sticking your hands under the water for 5 to 3 seconds and walking away. Food employees shall use the following cleaning procedures to clean their hands and expose portions of their arm. So you've got to spend time. It is that friction of the hands, moving across the hands, that is removing the bacteria and is helping clean the hands. So wet the hands with clean and running water. Apply soap. Water needs to be hot water, right? Lather your hands by rubbing them together with soap. Lather the back of your hands between your fingers and under your nails. Scrub your hands for at least 20 seconds. And this is, obviously you can tell that you had a hand in preparing this. I'm happy from beginning to end twice. So you can sing happy birthday from beginning to end twice. You've completed the proper hand washing technique for food service. Rinse your hands very well to get all portions of the bacteria Dry hands using a clean towel or air dryer. What you cannot see, proper hand washing only removes about half of the disease-causing germs on your hands. Amazing, isn't it? You go through happy birthday twice, lather your hands, and you still have bacteria-causing germs on your hands. How could that be? That's just, to me, absolutely stunning. So, what is ready-to-eat foods? Everybody heard the word ready-to-eat foods? Usually sounds like a military term, right? MREs, right? Ready-to-eat food is, without question, food that is edible without additional preparation to achieve food safety. Very key words there. Without additional preparation to achieve food safety. So what might that be? Raw food, fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables that are cooked for hot holding. That would be a ready-to-eat food. Time, temperature controlled food safety food that is cooked. Plant food for which further cooking, washing, or other processing is not required for food safety. From which rinds, peels, husks, shells, if naturally present, are all removed. So there's no additional preparation that's needed. That means it's ready to be consumed. It is ready to eat. Spices, seasoning, and sugar, all ready-to-eat foods. Bakery items such as breads, cakes, pies, fillings, and icing, all ready-to-eat foods. Those are all ready to go. Dry, fermented sausages such as dry salami and pepperoni, that's all ready-to-eat food. Salted, cured, dried meats, poultry products such as country cured ham, jerky, beef sticks, all ready-to-eat foods. So, this is why. No bare hand contact with ready-to-eat food is so important. Can't have any bare hand contact. So, can't touch pills with bare hands. Anybody ever hear that said? Yes. Cannot touch it. In the medication world, for those of you who are med techs, can't take your bare hands, put your bare hand on a pill without causing a violation in a healthcare facility. Can't do it. So, same happens in the food world. Can't take bare hands and put them on ready-to-eat foods. Can't do it. No bare hand contact. So, touching food with bare hands will be cited under the new guidelines by the Department of Health. They see that? Boom. Down comes the boom. Everyone will cite that immediately. So you got cookies, tomatoes, vegetables and fruits, cucumbers, salad, the cured ham. So you're saying, well, what do I do? You know, just let it sit there and jump on the table. You've got to use prongs, you have to use gloves, you have to use things to transfer the food and move the food safely. You cannot use bare hands. So, personal hygiene matters. Clean clothing, jewelry, hair restraint. So, let me go back to this other slide for a minute, because this is really important. When you have ready-to-eat food, so if you're going to move the cured ham, if you're going to pick up the cookies, you've got to have something to grab it with. So you have tongs, you have gloves, you have a number of ways in which to move the food safely to create that barrier between you and the bare hand, okay? So when you see these type of items, and if there's a question, you need to ask, okay? So personal hygiene really matters. Clean clothing, jewelry, hair restraints. These are all important issues. So food employees shall wear clean outer clothing to prevent contamination of food. So you have to have clean outer clothing on. And so equipment has to be clean, utensils have to be clean, and we're using linens, those have to be clean. But we don't use linens. So clean or dirty? The pink top. Clean. So the white shirt hanging on the clothesline. It's clean. You have the shirt down on the left with the spots on it. Dirty. It's not appropriate, is it? Shouldn't be there. And of course, you have the shirt on the right side. It looks like it just came in from the outside, maybe mowing grass or doing something. It should be there in the kitchen. So, jewelry, except for the plain rings such as a wedding band while preparing food, food employees should not be wearing jewelry, including medical jewelry, on their arms or hands. Not permitted. They're going to cite you for it. They're going to absolutely cite that. Food employees shall wear hair hats, hair restraints such as hats, hair coverings, nets, beard restraints, and clothing that covers body hair that are designed to be worn effectively to keep hair from contacting exposed food and cleaning equipment. So hair restraints are not required for staff who only serve beverages and wrapped or packaged food, hostesses and wait staff if they present minimal risk of contaminating exposed food and cleaning equipment. So you have to use some practical application. Your common sense sort of applies. Is this having an impact on the, is it going to have contact? Are you going to have contact with food? Basically, everybody who cooks, cleans, or serves food is required to wear hair restraint. So, when we think about prevention and time and temperature control for food safety is defined as the terms of whether or not it requires time and temperature control to limit pathogen growth. That's the time it takes to grow the bacteria. So the definition of TCS, food talk, takes into consideration the pH, the free moisture, pH and free moisture interaction, heat treatment, packaging to determine whether or not the food requires time and temperature control for safety. If the food is heat treated to eliminate vegetative cells, it needs to be addressed differently than raw products with no inadequate heat treatment. So there's been a change to the temperature. You've heard me talk for years that 140 is what the holding temperature is on that steam table. They have reduced it to 135. Now it's 135. Temperature of 135 is what is now the new holding temperature on the steam table. They've determined that 140, maybe we're cooking things a little too faster while it's sitting on the steam table, so they've lowered the number. So as long as the number's at 135, you're good. If you're below 135, we've got a problem. So these are the pH numbers. When you look at the pH numbers where you should be, and then of course you should be at 4.2 to 4.6, and this is with moisture in the food. TCS means time, temperature control for food safety, and the product assessment required. So if the pH is greater than 5, and if this is just a good way of looking at that. So, property, insect, and pest control, we have a contract with Massey's Pest Control at Dayspring. So if you see something, you need to say something and report it, and have Massey's Pest Control come out and do something with it. So the objective of cleaning focuses on the need to remove organic matter from food contact surfaces, so that sanitation can occur and to remove soil from non-food contact surfaces, that pathogenic microorganisms cannot be allowed to accumulate, and insect and rodents are not attractive. This was a picture Janet found somewhere. I don't know where she found it, but this was her yucky picture. So, but if you find that there is evidence of a problem, you need to identify where you saw the problem, and you need to report it so it can get into the system so that Massey's can be responsible or held accountable for making sure that they're maintaining the pest control standard throughout the building. Okay? So, proper insect and pest control, food contact surfaces, and cooking equipment must be cleaned to prevent incrustations that may impede heat transfer necessary for adequately cooked food. Encrusted equipment may also serve as an insect attractant when not used. That's why cleaning becomes important. So as equipment becomes encrusted, it then is going to create a situation where I'll have to come back and replace it. I'll have to pull that equipment, change the equipment because the equipment is not cooking properly because it's now becoming encrusted because it's not been cleaned correctly. And so if you don't clean the equipment correctly, then, you know, some of these ovens will cost upwards of $5,000. That little electric oven back there is about a $3,000, $4,000 affair. That little convection oven. So these are not quite cheap things. That little ice machine we just put in was close to $4,000. Not a cheap piece of equipment to go run out and purchase and put in. Of course, I think have they stopped unplugging the ice machine? Is the ice machine staying plugged in and they're now getting ice from it? Mm-hmm. Hopefully, yes. So it's really important to make sure that you're monitoring the condition of the equipment, because if the equipment has to be replaced or it's becoming encrusted, it is not working correctly. It can become an attractant for pest issues, and then eventually we have to replace it. So proper pest and insect control, storage and disposal of garbage, refuse are necessary to minimize the development of odors, prevent waste from becoming a home or breeding place for insects. So one of the things that we do is make sure that there are tops on the garbage cans. You notice there's folding lids on the garbage cans. Those are there for a reason. To control fly population, to make sure that you're reducing the presence of pest control. And so when the tops become damaged or people just become careless with them, then I've got to pull those garbage containers and then we have to go order new ones and put new ones in to make sure that the trash removal process works correctly. So when if we've got broken trash containers, those got to come out, we have to order new ones and put the new ones in. Okay? Because those receptacles are really important to controlling the presence of pests, important to control the fly population. So when you get into the springtime, you've got the fly population running around, they breed inside the trash cans. That's where your fly population comes from. So you've got to pay attention, make sure that the trash cans are being empty, the lids are all down, and then guess what? They have a difficult time repopulating themselves. So, your food service responsibilities is clean your hands, ensure the food is delivered at the required temperatures, protect from contamination and place into appropriate storage locations. We have large containers in the back. We bought brand new large containers in the back in order to make sure that the food goes into the large containers. It has to be labeled with the date. It has to be labeled with the time that you pulled it. And make sure that it goes directly into the cooler, that we get it. You don't store the food, and don't ever let me find that you've said, hey, well, I'm just going to put a plate back to Teresa. She's going to come back later, and I'm going to go stick it in the microwave and let it sit there for 2 hours. You know what's happening in 2 hours? We're growing bacteria. Because that's a plate of ready-to-eat food that's been cooked. It's a meat product or dairy product. It's got cellophane over top of it. It's sitting all nicely inside that microwave. And what's happening? We're growing bacteria by the thousands over the course of time while Teresa's busy doing something else. So then when she goes back there and says, well, I'm just going to heat it up. I'll kill all that bacteria. No, you're going to walk out being a very sick person the very next day. So what happens is you're fooling yourself, thinking, well, you know, that food's sitting out there. So you go home, say, your sister says, oh, I left this plate out for you 3 hours ago. But I'll stick it in the microwave because I know you've had a long day, and I'll heat it up for you. And it'll be just fine. Well, you know what? It'll not be fine. So you need to make sure that, you know, hot food immediately needs to go from the steam table to the container to the refrigerator. You have to get it back into the safe zone immediately. So in order to avoid people getting sick, okay? Food has to get into the safe zone right away, okay? So when hot food comes off the steam table, you want to see the steam coming off it. When you go to a restaurant and you get a baked potato, this is my baked potato story, If you can't see the steam coming off of it when they come walking to your table, you just say very politely, say, listen, would you mind doing me a favor? Just go on back to the kitchen, have them put it in the microwave, and reheat that to 140 for me. Okay? Because otherwise you're going to walk out of that restaurant, and about 2 hours, 3 hours later, you're not going to feel so good. Because between the sour cream and the temperature of the baked potato, they've created the sauce necessary for your colon to really wreak havoc with you at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay? So, reality is that it's all chemistry. Food's all chemistry. Medication's chemistry, but the reality is food is super chemistry. Because it's organic chemistry. And your body's trying to absorb from the food what it needs and get rid of the stuff it doesn't need. And so what we've got to make sure is it's coming in at the right temperature and the right quality, and of course, we want to make sure that it's correct. So, third thing is properly cooked time and temperature, control of safety food, particularly careful in cooking foods known to cause foodborne illness and death, such as eggs, ground beef. These are all super serious things. And also use a calibrated thermometer. That's a big deal. So, anybody know what a calibrated thermometer is? Colleen, what's a calibrated thermometer?
Well, it's when you get the thermometer, I believe it's to 0, and then you test it for its, and then you test it for cold water to 0, and then into hot water.
Okay.
To make sure that it goes back to 0 so that it's calibrated. That's what you want to start out at, is at 0.
0. Okay, there we go. All right, so your food service responsibilities. Use proper methods of rapidly cooling food, time temperature control for food safety that are not held or hot and are for consumption within 4 hours. Okay, so if it's for consumption within 4 hours and you're cooking and this is going to be consumed within that 4-hour window, you've got to hold it at what temperature? 135. That's the new number, right? Properly sanitize and clean the equipment and utensils before. So if I go back there and I've got my team table all set up, and Alfreda says, "Hey, Doug, come on out here. I found a funny thing I want you to see on my computer." I said, "Oh, I'm all ready to go." I run out there and see what Alfreda's talking about on her computer, and there's something for me to look at. And then it said, "Okay, well, it's almost 5 minutes to 5. I better go back here to the kitchen because it's time to serve." What do I need to do?
Wash your hands.
I need to wash hands again, don't I? Because I left the area, didn't I? And I need to change it.
Every time you leave and come in, you just.
There we go. So, prevent cross-contamination of ready-to-eat foods with bare hands by properly using suitable utensils, such as spatulas, tongs, single-use gloves, or dispensing equipment. So if I put on a pair of gloves, I go back in and I mix that salad up. I'm just getting my hands on that salad. And Rhonda says, "Hey, come over here and get these tomatoes sliced up for me."
Very well.
Can I just walk over there with my gloves?
You
better change
New pair of gloves, right?
Yep.
Don't cut myself, right?
Yeah.
Cut that finger off too while I'm at it, right? Want to get over there, right? All right, okay, so 10 training in food safety. And your food service responsibilities: report to the person in charge information about your health activities as it relates to diseases or transmittable through food. You may not work in food service if you have any of the following: diarrhea, vomiting, jaundice, sore throat with fever, unprotected and infected wounds. Not permissible. Forms of contamination. So conditions for bacteria to grow. You have to have food, acidity, temperature, time, oxygen, and moisture. What's all that stand for?
Fat tail.
Fat Tom. Fat Tom.
We talk about that all the time now. We do.
Fat Tom stands for what?
Food, temperature, time, oxygen,
Major bacteria that causes foodborne illnesses lives in humans. Linked with ready-to-eat food and beverages is salmonella. Salmonella poisoning is serious. Okay? This is a problem all throughout the restaurant industry. This is one of the reasons why you have the slow food movement. Everybody hear of the slow food movement versus the fast food movement? You got fast food, right? Which everybody's been through a fast food restaurant. We have slow food, which is different. It's the organic foods, cooking at home. It's a whole different approach to cooking. So, non-typhoidal salmonella is poultry and eggs, meat, milk, and dairy products, produces such as tomatoes, peppers, and cantaloupes. So this is also a pretty serious thing. Shigella is also pretty serious. This is found in feces of humans with the illness and found in food that is easily contaminated by hands and food that is contaminated by water, such as produce. So produce that has been contaminated by water that has what's called fecal coliform. That's one of the reasons why we test every month here for fecal coliform. Coliform is a mandatory testing that happens here in our water system, because in water systems you're constantly evaluating what is there a presence of coliform, fecal coliform within water systems. And in some water systems you might have a cross-contamination point where that could occur. Of course, we don't have any water lines that cross our wastewater lines, so that penetration would not occur. So, and of course, one of the reasons that we're testing for that is to make sure you don't have this situation, okay? Because if you had that kind of water showing up, that would be a problem. E. coli found in raw and undercooked ground beef and contaminated produce. Okay? Hepatitis A is found in feces of human with illness, linked with ready-to-eat food and shellfish contaminated water. So the water is important. We disinfect our water system. I was showing Tom and Colleen the other day. We have a higher than average disinfection rate in our water system. And part of that is to make sure that we are killing everything in the water system that might produce or cause to be produced any sort of infection, any sort of contamination. Okay? So there is a minimum disinfection rate that you have to hit. We're running our system at above that level. Okay? In order to prevent things like Legionella. Legionella is what causes Legionnaire's disease. That's been a big issue in healthcare facilities all throughout the country. That's why all of the facilities that had nice pretty fountains, all those fountains went away. They were causing Legionella. All the big chillers in these big buildings that were their air conditioning systems, those were all causing Legionella. Buildings with big air conditioning systems that sit on top of the roof, they collect water, standing water, stagnant water, were causing Legionella. Our system, believe it or not, is running water all day long. So the fact that we're flushing toilets all the time, or that system is running all the time, we're running close to what? About 7,000 gallons a day?
Yeah.
Approximately 7,000 gallons a day. The city for the DMV runs 7 million gallons a day. But we're running about 7,000 gallons a day here at Dayspring. So the norovirus, commonly linked to ready-to-eat food and shellfish. You heard about this in the news. The norovirus is also a problem with contaminated water as well as ready-to-eat foods. So what's wrong with this picture?
I agree with his name.
Dirty.
Yes, we have encrusted equipment becoming encrusted in that corner. So this person appears to be coughing. What should you do?
Wash your hands. Put on a mask, wash your hands.
This appears to be a problem.
Trash one of those, not covered.
Should be calling for the trash company to come empty the dumpster. No.
It's pretty gross.
What about this? This is here. Janet took a picture of that. She said this is a good one. What's wrong with this one?
It doesn't have a lid.
No lid. Needs to be done. There's no lid on it. So you need to report that. Okay? We need to make sure that's that thing that we have a lid on it. And if we don't have a lid on it, then we've got to pull that one. That one column needs to go away. Okay? Because you want to have a lid on it so we can control the pests. And I know this, they beat them up, they just break them, but that's what happens. I've got to replace them. So that's where the money goes to replacing the things that they end up breaking. That's right. But you've also got to make sure you get them rolled down and make sure they're getting empty. Okay, it takes everybody doing your job every day to impact resident satisfaction, resident safety. So this is really important stuff. All right, so we got a little bit of time here, so I've got